What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Jet's Fishing Adventures. We're out here getting ready for the next tournament of the Tennessee Bass Nation on Lake Chickamauga, March 1st. But while I'm out here getting ready, one of the most important things while you're fishing or while you're preparing to fish is to retie leaders, retie all your baits. One of the most asked questions I get on Facebook is what knots do I tie and what knots do I use to attach braided line to fluorocarbon. So for this video, we're going to talk about the knot that I use to tie on baits and the knot that I use to for a leader knot. So I get asked a lot about the knot that I use to tie on baits. And to be honest, I have a very simple way to do it, and it's a very popular way, and I only use one style of knot, and that's just to keep it easy. And the reason why I choose this particular knot, it's very easy to do, very quick. You can do it almost in the dark without any lights. On a windy day, it's hard to tie some of these knots, but this knot is one of the easiest, and it's really the only knot that I tie on a regular basis. Done me very well in the past, and I don't see myself changing it in the future. And that knot is a Palomar knot. A Palomar knot is a very simple, very easy, a very strong knot, and I wanted to show you how to do it. And I was going to try to do it with just some fluorocarbon, but you won't be able to see that in the video. So I'm going to take this big old ring around here and take this big paracord and show you how to tie a Palomar knot. Alright, step number one of tying a Palomar knot, you want to take your eye of the hook, the split ring, whatever you're tying on, the bait. You take the line, your fluorocarbon monofilament braid, you run it through the eye of the hook. Take about 5 or 6 inches. The more, the better, depending on how big the bait it is. You can kind of get away with using, if it's a smaller bait, you don't have to have such a long line around here. Then you want to take that end, run it back through the eye of the hook, and now you want to have line on both sides. You want to loop in right here, and then you want this you want the line and this end. So how I like to do it, and one of the key to this, you see how these lines are overlapping? You want to keep it like that. Sometimes it'll kind of crisscross, and that will cause you to have a weaker knot. But I like to pinch it with this loop right here. So you take this loop, you run it over, you come across, and I like to hold it just like that. Then you take this loop, run it through the bigger loop. Then you can kind of close a little bit of it. Take this end right here, go around the entire bait, and come back. Now, since I'm using a bigger line, I'm using paracord. This is kind of a tricky part, but you should just be able to tighten it all down, and it'll come down. It'll make a really nice little, and you'll make that right there. See how nice that is? For an example, I'm going to take some fluorocarbon and do the exact same thing, and that way you can kind of see the difference between paracord and a regular line. So here we go. We got this little spook right here. We're going to run it through the split ring. I like to hold it in my mouth to get some line out, run back through it, get a little bit of line like this, pinch it. I like to pinch it all the way up here, then hold it like that. See, the line's not crossing. Come back around, go through there. Then it can get a little challenging if the wind's blowing. Then you want to take that whole end, wrap around the whole bait. You got this. Then close it down. And so there, that is not. Then you want to take some My particular way is to take the rustiest pair of scissors that I know that I have. You know, the rustier the better, but I like to hold it in the tag in my mouth. Take your pocket knife, rusty pair of scissors, cut that tag in, and there you go. Perfect little knot, and it's a very strong knot. And I just love a Palomar knot. It's easy, very easy way to tie it in windy conditions. Some of these more complex knots, you can sit there and you can just try and try, but if the wind's blowing, you might as well give up. But Palomar knot is about the only knot that I really tie, and there's really no other. Keep it simple. You know, one of my buddies calls it KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's how I fish a lot of times. I keep it very simple, and it's been very good for me so far. All right, so number 2, my favorite knot, and really the only other knot that I tie, is a leader knot. What's a leader knot? That is braided line to a leader. Reason why I use braided line a lot in a kayak, we are giving a lot to a fish. You got line stretch, you got the rod bend, and you got the kayak pulling to the fish. So one reason that I use braid versus just straight fluorocarbon or straight monofilament is because braid has zero stretch, and I feel I can get a better bite, and it's a lot more sensitive than fluorocarbon as well. But if you're gonna run braid on any of your setups, you need to know how to run a leader. And what's a leader? So a leader is all it is a bunch of, you run braid on your main reel, and then I don't know how much of a leader line I actually run, but I'll show you what I do. And so there's the leader knot right there, very strong connection. And what I use is a double uni knot. Very strong, very simple way to fit, or very simple knot. Not a complex is like the FG knot. I know a lot of people run the FG knot, and it's a very good knot. But if the wind's blowing outside and you're on the water, it's going to be impossible to tie it, at least for me. And I know it takes me about 2 to 3 minutes to tie an FG knot, and I'm just not going to take that much time if I do break off to retie that knot. The FG knot is a very small knot, so if you have micro guides, that is the way to go. But I like a double uni because it's very simple, very quick, and it's really easy to do it in windy conditions, not ideal conditions to tie a knot. So let's jump in and I'll show you how I tie it. All right, so step number 1 of tying a double uni, we're going to use this piece of line as our fluorocarbon or leader line. So I like to place it right here. We're going to use this piece as our braided main line. So if you're thinking this is going to the reel, that's going to the bait. So what you do, I like to get a little bit of tension on the line. Take this braided line, lay it right next to each other, just like so. Then you want to pinch the braided line to your leader line, pull a little bit of the braided line out. Then you want to make a loop with the braided line, just like that. Then take the braided line. Usually I will cross it over like this, loop it around 7 times. You know, 7's a Lord number, so I want all the luck I can get. But as far as the paracord, I'm just going to do 2 or 3. So do it twice. So there we go. Then you want to hold the both lines and the line, fluorocarbon line with the tag in. You want to pull it tight. You'll give a really good little hook. And if you notice, it will slide up and down this leader line. So you take the fluorocarbon line, which is this one right here. You do the exact opposite. Hold it like this. Create a loop. Do 1. It's gonna be hard to do 2. There you go. Then you want to tighten it up. Then you want to grab the fluorocarbon line and braided line, give it a little bit of wetness, tighten it up, and there is your double uni knot. Now, this looks huge on the camera, and this is big because it's paracord, but we're going to show you how to do it on braided line and fluorocarbon line. All right, we got the braided line right here, as you probably can't tell in the video, but a lot of people ask me how long I make my leaders, and to be completely honest, I really don't know how long it is, but I have a system. So I'll grab my leader line and I'll pull it out, and I'll hold the very end of the line, and I'll just do 1, my whole width, my arm length, 2, and I'll do a third one if I'm using lighter line, like as in like spinning rod. If I'm using a spinning reel, I'll use a little bit lighter line. I'll go 3 arm lengths instead of 2, but this is a jig and on a bait caster, so we're gonna go just 2. So here we go. Here's the line right here. Leader line, braided line. And once you've done this a few times, you can really get really quick with it. So you take the braided line. I like to go up a little bit. Then you take the leader line, come around, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then you want to wet it. Come up. You want to make sure it's really tight. And you want to make sure it's got a real fine little knot. Then you want to take the leader line. The leader line's right here with the braided line. Come around. Here's the braid. You want to do the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then make sure it all, see how it wants to do like that? You just want to pull it down a little bit. Make sure it gets out even like that. Then take the leader line, come up to the braided line, wet it a little bit, and then pull it tight. So as you can see, that knot is really tight. Hope it's focusing. Then you want to take your knife, your pair of rusty scissors, and particularly with the fluorocarbon tag end, you want to get it as close as you can without touching the knot. The reason why, that little tag end will be poking out and it'll hit your guides, make it a little bit noisier. And if you're fishing around grass, it will grab a little bit of grass and some debris in the water, but you just want to kind of watch that. The other end is not as important because it's braid, and the braid will just kind of flex with whichever way you're going. So how I like to do it, I like to put it in my mouth, cut the tag in. I left that one out a little bit longer than I like. I usually have a pair of scissors. Then you take the braided end, cut it, and you'll spit it out, and there you go. Perfect double uni knot. This knot is very strong. It's one of my favorites. Very simple way to untie, and it's a little bit windy, as you can tell how quick I tied it. I'm not sure. Once you get familiar with tying it, you can tie it really quick, and even sometimes in low light as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This video is a little bit shorter than most of my videos, but this would be kind of week 3 of my beginner's guide to fishing. And I just wanted to jump on here, show you the 2 knots that I tie the most. And you know, if you go online, go on Facebook, a lot of people will make you believe that fishing has to be complicated. And as you just seen, I use 2 types of knots. They're very simple knots, and that's all I use. I don't get complex. A lot of people will kind of make fun of me for only using 2 knots, but hey, it works for me, and it's worked for a lot of other people. So what I'm asking, comment below what knot do you use if you already know how to tie knots. If you don't, comment below that yeah, I've taught you something. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. My birthday is March 10th, and if we can hit 1,000 by then, I'm going to be having a big giveaway, another Facebook Live like the previous one. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we will see y'all next week. And the next week's video will be Lake Chickamauga, fishing the Tennessee Bass Nation, event number 3. So let's go.